Hello, you guys. So let me just back up. Let me move you up. Oh my gosh, this is ghetto already. Okay. So I wanted to actually do another one of these health update videos because I really haven't in a hot minute. I've been very it's not so much that I haven't had anything happen. It's just a lot of the stuff that's been happening, it's not super dramatic and it's not something that I felt necessarily warranted a whole video. But now I can kind of give you guys the tea. Because probably the last time I talked to you guys about it was probably in July, I think. I talked a lot about like, I don't know, I got like weirdly spiritual about it. And like I was talking about like my relationship and just totally random stuff. But it did make sense. I talked about how I was depleted and stuff like that. And it's been some months now. It's been, like I said, probably 2 months since that time. And I think a lot of you guys probably feel like I gave up or something. I haven't. I've been going strong. Even if you saw my mukbangs that I did, there's very specific food that I'm eating, very specific things. But I do want to talk about kind of a next phase that I'm getting into and just really what's changed physically. So first and foremost, my vision improved. So what I mean by that is I had a lot of issues seeing at night when I was driving. In Alabama, it is very, very dark at night. So it's very, very difficult to see when you're driving because there's just, I live in a very rural area. There is, the bigger city, which is Huntsville, but everywhere around Huntsville is extremely rural. And it's very easy. You can just turn left and you're in the middle of a cornfield within about a minute. So it's a very rural area. There's a lot of areas that don't have street lights and it's very dark. It's very, very dark. Even the areas that do have street lights, they're very limited. Like it's nothing like California or even El Paso when you're driving at night where there's just a lot of city lights and it's more urban. It's not urban here. So when I'm driving and when I was working and stuff, I was very limited by the sunlight. So if the sun started to set, I could not work anymore. But with that, I also had other issues like not being able to sleep at night, which I talked about. I had a moment in time where I was able to sleep during the night, because my health was improving, and then it just kind of improved too much to where I started burning more fat, and that fat is the polyunsaturated fat that's in my fat stores. And so it started causing difficult issues. I'm burping. That's my leg on the wall, by the way. I don't know what you guys think that could sound like. So I started having difficult issues with, the PUFAs kind of surging through my veins, and it was very overwhelming because my thyroid was not really strong enough to counterbalance the weight loss, or the fat loss, I should say. I did not lose weight, but the fat loss that I've been experiencing. And over the summer months, it was greatly helped in part by the heat. So I've talked a lot about heat being one of the things that helps hypothyroidism. And the summer is one of the most important seasons because it can help you bolster yourself for the winter. Because the winter is really tough on the thyroid. So people that never go outside during the summer, you're setting yourself up for a rough winter. And you typically will have worse health outcomes and stuff. It's just a bit of advice on that. But luckily for me, I work outside. I'm out and about a lot. I'm not just sitting in the sun, but I'm outside a lot during the day, and I was in the heat, and it was very hot. At times it was very miserable. I struggled with hydration at times because it was so hot and so humid that I felt like I was just, I could describe it as putrid. But that putridity and that very hotness, it bolstered my already improving thyroid. So that led to a lot of progress leading to backslides, which I talked about in my previous video where I said going backwards, question mark. That might have actually been my last video, so that's really not a good note to leave it on. And I think what happened is, like I said, it got worse because it was getting better. Because when you're burning more fat, you're releasing more of those toxic fats into your system. And if your thyroid and liver and everything are not strong enough, then it can make you seem like you're going backwards, which I was experiencing liver symptoms. I was experiencing a lot of different diarrhea and just a lot of the stuff that I was experiencing in the beginning, with the special emphasis on liver stuff. And, I was getting sleep apnea because my skin was congealing. I was having issues breathing because the fat, the skin that is encasing the fat, so like right here and in my gut, it was congealing and making it harder to breathe. Because when I was keto, everything was very floppy because my skin was really broken down and loose. So like this, like you can see how this is really, it's very fast, okay? It's really tight, or getting tight there. And that has to do with thyroid, it has to do with your tissues building, and that's why you don't lose weight when you do this diet, because you're rebuilding tissues and bones and so many different things, which I have talked about. However, I have not really been able to rebuild my teeth because although I was experiencing some cavities healing, which is crazy, on one of my molars, I had more baby ones come in because of how much candy I was eating and how much sugar I was eating. So I have a lot of teeth mineralization issues probably because of the candy, but also because of the parathyroid and thyroid issues. Because when you are hypothyroid, it does cause your parathyroid to go up, which takes calcium from your bones and your teeth. And you actually just pee out all the calcium. It's horrible. So I reached a point where my teeth started to reform probably this summer. And to me, I took that as a sign that my bones were done rebuilding from when I was keto. And when you're keto, you put yourself in a very hypothyroid state. It's very similar to veganism. Heaven forbid you mention that. But again, two sources of stress will cause the same result, which is a poor thyroid. If you stress out your body, it will cause a poor thyroid, regardless of how you stress it out, either opposite extreme. So with me, I mostly did keto, but I did have moments where I was vegan, or where I was avoiding dairy, and that all contributed to the shit show that I'm in, because it never helped. It just made it worse. So it was just my body was really taking a beating, basically. But anyways, I'm sure I had some kind of bone loss from all the parathyroid hormone, because I can see it in my teeth, that my teeth are demineralized. And, some areas are very clear, they're really demineralized. But like I said, somewhere along the way, I started to notice that my teeth were actually starting to remineralize. And on one of my molars, the smaller cavities were actually filling in, and they still are. It's probably because I use that tooth a lot. Like I'm always chewing on that tooth, and I chew on this side mostly rather than this side. So the molar on this side still is bad, but this side is healing, which is crazy. I shit you not, it is. But too much candy, it still breaks it down further, right? And it's preventing it from getting better. So, because it's very harsh on your teeth, obviously. I don't think that I have to, say that. I think it's really obvious how harsh sugar is on your teeth. So, while the sugar was helping me feel better and it really gave my liver energy during the summer, it took away my diarrhea. It made me feel like I could work more. It made me feel like all my liver symptoms went away when I was eating tons of sugar and candy. It was rotting my teeth. And I think over the last few weeks, when I started to really be able to see at night, and, this whole experience, it has totally shaken everything I was ever taught about medicine, health, anything the doctors have told me. Not every single thing, obviously, but anything relating to like holistic health or prevention or these things that are long-term issues. I'm very trusting with doctors when it comes to like acute problems, like a broken arm or a need for a heart surgery, or even with what's been going on in the world. I'm very trusting towards doctors and modern medicine, but when it comes to things like obesity, high blood pressure, all these things that are long-term stressors and issues that our medical industry tends to just over-medicate and not actually get to the root of the problem. Everything that they have taught me, I have tried. And I think that there's something very scary, but also very liberating to literally throw it all out in the trash. Because I think for me, I realized that I'm still almost 400 pounds after listening to doctors my whole life. And so when it comes to these long-term issues, I have very little faith, because it's not always just about, your weight or what they're telling you the diet advice is. A lot of times it's if your weight can stay off, and if you can stay on the diet because it's functional, because it's healthful and helpful, and it's something that your body needs and craves and does easily, and it gets easier and easier with time. Every diet I have done, everything, especially the doctors told me, never ever worked. When I had a fatty liver as a child, I went to the doctor and they told me that I needed to stop eating fat from meat, saturated fat. That was the very first thing they said. Don't eat any saturated fat. And they told me to eat whole grains. And around 2013, I really was questioning it, because I remember trying it when I was a kid, starving and quitting over and over again. And what happened is me and my mom would just get fast food because we were starving with the diet that they told us. And I think that it's kind of like a gaslight. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know how deep it is. I really don't. I don't know if it's incompetence. I don't know if it's actual like malevolence because they want people to be on medications for financial reasons. But the diet that they tell you to do to cut calories, to go run or something and do this type of stuff, it's very, very unhelpful. And it oftentimes creates an opposite issue where you'll actually end up binging way more than you would have if you would have just done nothing. And I've seen that with a lot of like these sort of social justice activists. They talk about diets never work, blah, blah, blah. But I don't agree with them either, because I don't want to accept a life where I'm going to be at a great disadvantage, or that I'm going to be suffering, especially experiencing, cognitive symptoms and emotional instability that's coming from a physical place. I don't want to have, relationships like a lot of these social justice warriors that are very toxic or unstable or tumultuous. I have had struggles like that, and I don't want to live that way. And I've realized that so many things that I thought were coming from other things were coming from the physicality, which I've talked about a lot as well, so I don't want to get too much into it. But the point is, I don't agree with the social justice side of things either, because it's not about there being no diet that works. It's about you not finding the one that does. It's about not having the courage to explore for yourself and find something out for yourself. And I do. And that's what led me here. So I'm telling you, I'm eating tons of candy, or I was, and my insulin resistance improved. My vision improved at night, my night vision, because my insulin resistance is improving. Even eating a bag of candy a day, this is happening. Eating saturated fat every single day, dairy every single day, meat every single day, candy every single day. My insulin resistance is improving. And how do I know? Because I can see better at night. I can see clearer. My vision is clearing up. That's huge. A month ago, I could not work at night. Now I can. I totally can. And I have been. So, with that shift, which is very physical and very obvious, I was actually having realizations and wants for more. I was starting to have more energy to work, and I have been working more hours. I got more aware of my financial situation because my anxiety and these different things, the weird sort of cloud that hangs over your head when you have like low thyroid function, it was receding. And so then I could see the actual stress of the situation and the bad financial situation I was in. And instead of being more in a victim mindset or a frozen mindset because of anxiety or a lack of energy, I started working more because I had the energy to do so and I had the drive to do so. And I would have a lot of these drives and energy when I was keto as well, which you see, like I moved out and I did a lot of different things when I was keto. But that way of doing it, it came from a catabolic adrenal state. That's where my energy was coming from. But this time it's not. This energy that I'm using is coming from my thyroid. It's coming from a healthy, calm, non-frenetic, non-psychotic, non-super bitch place where I'm actually way calmer, way more stable, way more empathetic, way less selfish. A lot of my selfish tendencies were coming from a flight or fight response, which is from a very high level of adrenaline. Because when you're trying to survive, you can't think about other people as much. It makes it harder. And therefore it's hard to relate. And I do see this in society. I see a lot of people with these issues, and I do think this is why people are extremely emotional, yet extremely unempathetic these days, if you haven't noticed. Anyways, I have been going towards the opposite now, where I'm not over emotional and I am more empathetic. So it's been very lovely, and it's been very healing to all of my relationships in my life. So these are the progresses that I've made with this diet, with this way of eating, with not listening, because I'm doing it for myself. I'm following ancient wisdom. I'm eating nutrients that we have been eating for thousands and thousands of years that are way more aligned with our physiology. And I'm approaching this from a healthful, ease-inducing place. I'm not doing this as a challenge. I'm doing this as something that heals my body, and it's working. So as my energy has increased, I am working more. And as I'm working more, I'm still struggling with money. It is horrible. I don't know what is going on, but I do think there's some astrology that has to do with money being so bad, but at this moment. But I'm going to keep hitting it harder because I want more money and I want to pay my bills, and all that stuff. So I am going to be working more tomorrow because I have the energy to. I have the ability to. And with that comes a little bit higher quality of food. So I was having some heart palpitations. I don't know if it was palpitations. That's probably not it, but because I don't think it was. That's not the right word. My heart was racing a lot. And I started getting a little paranoid. I was like, oh my gosh, the doctors tell me that if I eat this way, I'm going to have a heart attack and I'm going to die. So I started getting paranoid. And because of that, I was like, maybe I should lay off the sugar a bit. Because then also too, like I told you, my teeth are rotting. So it's a little harsh. So I was like, okay, let me go to Sprouts and just get some liver. I was just really fiending for nutrition. Because the way that I was eating, it was very bare minimum. Okay, which what I mean by bare minimum is it's as cheap as possible because I really have struggled financially. But I still have been following the thyroid protocol just through a very, very cheap way of doing it with the lowest quality food possible because it's cheap, very, very cheaply done in order to try to pay bills and try to survive even with having less energy and less of an ability to work and less of an ability to earn money. So it's like I'm trying to still survive but still stay calm and still keep my body the way it is and blah, blah, blah. Which something like sugar is very cheap. Candy is very cheap. You know this. We all know this. I can get, 800 calories worth of sugar in less than $2. And that's great. So anyways, I was craving nutrition a lot. I went and I bought calf liver and I just ate all 4 of them. So I ate a shit ton of vitamin A, shit ton of vitamins in that liver. And I made a bunch of onions and I was just craving a lot of these foods that I used to crave. Because again, as you get healthier, your adrenaline gets lower and you don't crave these hyperpalatable foods as a form of survival. And I think we don't realize that we're craving these foods in order to survive. If your thyroid is suffering, you're going to crave sugar and fat and fried foods, and not just fat, but fried fat, like fried foods, deeply fried foods, deep sugar, candy and this kind of stuff. That's what you're going to crave. Because you're in an adrenal state and your body is trying to survive and your body is also trying to heal your thyroid. So I realized just giving into it, it gets better. And I think now, after the summer and the heat, my thyroid is improving so much that even though I'm losing a little bit more weight now, or more fat, I should say, my thyroid is strong enough, my liver is strong enough to overcome it. And now the need for hyperpalatable foods is going down. And how does that manifest? I am disgusted by candy. I don't want to eat it at all. I literally I was shopping with my cousin a couple days ago. And I picked up a bag of candy corn and I was like, oh yeah, I want to get it today because we were shopping for Halloween decorations. And I ended up putting it down. I was like, I don't want it Because when I think about sugar right now, I get disgusted. I'm disgusted by it. And it's because my body doesn't need it anymore. I don't need it. So, I think that at this point, I'm starting to transition back to paleo, because that was really the diet that I did the best on. And now knowing about the PUFAs and the anti-thyroid foods, and what not to eat within a paleo protocol, I think I will thrive. I think I'm going to do really, really well. I'm not, getting into that diet mindset where I'm saying, this is what I am. That's it. Like, if I want pizza, I'm going to make pizza with rice flour, and I'm not going to care, I'm obviously eating dairy, and, all these different things. And I'm not getting into these diet mindsets, but I think what I will ultimately be eating is more of a paleo-ish lifestyle, because I did the best on it. And I feel good. So I haven't been eating sugar for the past few days. I had like a terrible migraine, and I actually found that my racing heart was caused by muscle tension from driving. So I got a lot of tension here and here. So if you can see, I did some cupping. It's really dark right there. And on this side as well. And reducing the muscle tension actually stopped my racing heart. So it was more of a muscular issue. So I'm fine. And now that I'm not eating the sugar, obviously my vision's improving even more. Like, things are getting even better. I feel like I'm looking better. I'm starting to look younger and stuff, because I do think the sugar is harsh, but there's a reason why we crave it. And I think that we're taught from such a young age in our society to have an adversarial relationship with our body, when our body is just trying to help us survive. And I'm very much at peace with my body. And I'm looking forward to this next chapter where I have enough energy and I have enough, thyroid and liver function to handle the increased fat burning, and I am able to eat more real, natural food. So I'm excited for that. But with that, you guys, I'm going to go. I had to give you an update. It's been a long time, so a lot has happened. But I will keep you guys posted. And I hope you guys have an amazing night or whatever, day, whatever.